Mass Masterclass series, welcome. Got to make sure we're recording. By the way, you guys, we record all of our sessions. So if you want to go back and rewatch, or if you have to leave early or miss a day, you can go back and watch the replay. So just know that. Welcome. I'm Arden Kaywin. Super excited to have you guys here. This is our Pro Singer Career Accelerator Masterclass series. So what we are doing here is all about mastering the craft to thrive in the industry. And so I'm Arden Kaywin. I am an expert vocal coach, transformational vocal coach. This is all about transformation. You'll get that as we move through the week together. I'm also a performer and a vocal producer, and we'll get to know each other so much more throughout the week. I put a little poll that you guys, if you're just joining, there's a little poll while we're, just getting started here. It's a little getting to know you poll. It just helps me to really learn a little more about everyone here, the things that you are excited about, the things that you're working on, the things that you feel are issues in your singing, where you are in your singing career. And so please do fill it out because it really helps us to get to know where you're at. And it also helps me to kind of tailor where I want to take the masterclass series over the course of the week. So please do fill that out. All right, let's get started. I really want you guys to buckle up because over the next 7 days, I am going to train you on the major pillars that you need to tap into to access that last 10% of potential to unleash the truth of your talent, give you the kind of unforgettable performances that break through to the kind of elite opportunities that you want for your singing and keep them coming. And it doesn't matter what genre you sing. It doesn't matter if you are an opera singer, a pop singer, musical theater, jazz, R&B, country, whatever genre you sing. If you have gotten this far in your singing journey, singing career, because you've already got the foundations that have taken you 90% of the way, but over the next 7 days, it's all about teaching you how to access that last 10% of the potential of your voice, your energy, your technique, your artistry, and your impact so that you stand out from the competition and you can go out there and start achieving the big opportunities and the big paychecks if you're doing this professionally that you really, really want in 2025. So I am going to close out the poll now. I'll launch it again tomorrow. So if you didn't get a chance to fill it out, that's okay. We can come back to it tomorrow. But I want you guys to be focused and paying attention and not splitting your focus between the poll and what I'm saying. So I'm going to close the poll out for now, and we can come back to it tomorrow if you didn't get a chance to see it. Okay. So look, guys, we have just finished 2024. And I know that a lot of you have been struggling and been frustrated because you didn't see the results that you wanted in your singing and in your singing career this past year, despite everything that you've been doing. And so if you don't want 2025 to look exactly the same as 2024 and just replay the same frustrations and the same disappointments, then now is the time. Now is the time to jumpstart, to get the tools you need to come out the gate really strong. This is not the time to coast. So, because how you show up now, what you activate, and how you up level in the next 2 months has a direct effect on your results and how you come out the gate in 2025. So, a little bit of housekeeping first. This is session 1. So the sessions and the trainings, guys, they build on each other. So if you have to come late, leave early, miss something, watch the replay as soon as possible. We upload the replays like within an hour of finishing each session each day. So if something comes up, like you will have the replay to watch that night so that when you come into the session the next day, you will not have missed anything. So really try to stay on that. Watch the replay as soon as possible. And like we were saying, we post the replay links and emails, and you get that in our emails and in all of the posts. A word about the replays though, which is that the replays are only available for the week of the Masterclass series. So they disappear on Monday, a week from today at midnight. So just make sure that you stay on it and you watch the replays in a timely fashion. Um, we have a masterclass workbook, which is the best way to sort of take notes, follow along. And Ashley's going to put the link to the masterclass workbook. Ashley is my right hand. I say she's my brain. If I didn't have Ashley, I would be all over the place. That link that she just posted in the chat is the link to our masterclass workbook. We did send it out earlier in the week to, for those of you who registered earlier on, and we actually updated it. So if you've already downloaded it, go ahead and use this one, download this one. If you've printed it out, that's fine. You can use what you've printed out and take notes. But if you haven't yet, or you're using the online PDF, go ahead and download the one that we just put in the chat. That's the one that you should be using starting today. So grab it now, use it to take notes. All of the practice content, the exercises, the homework that you're going to get, the MP3s, the PDFs that we're giving you of all of the tools, it's all in this masterclass workbook. So you need that link. Do not lose it. Download it now. Okay. From time to time, I will be asking for guinea pigs, volunteers to sing and coach on a particular tool that I'm giving you. And so if you would like to be a volunteer, a guinea pig, please use the raised hand function. Those of you who have had connect calls with Amy, we give you the option to come and live coach in here. If you have not had a connect call with Amy, who's our studio concierge, it's her job to send you resources and really help you find out what are the things that are, going on in your singing that you need support around, so that, again, we can coach on it in the context of these sessions. So let's see, Ashley or Amy, if you have the link to booking those connect calls, will you please put it in the chat? Because I know a lot of you are probably going to want a live coach in the session. And so you having that connect call with Amy over the next few days, then we know what you want to coach on and we have some idea, and it's just the best way to do it. So be sure to get on Amy's calendar. And it's 15 minutes. It's not like a whole, long thing. It's just for us to get to know you better. Okay, this is the safe space, okay? So this is the place where I want you guys to feel super safe and super supported, to be vulnerable, to share, to be brave, to try new things, try new tools. And so for those who get up and share and sing, we encourage vulnerability, we encourage bravery. And so I have a zero tolerance policy for any meanness, criticism, judgment, throwing shade in the chat. If you do that, you will get a warning. And if you cannot abide by that, this is not the place for you. I will say we hardly ever have a problem with that, but that is because this is one of the highest values that I hold for this community, and I would appreciate your effort in holding that value for this group. Another thing to note, that we are doing a scholarship contest at the end of this 7-day workshop. So if you come every day to the workshop and you are here live in attendance each day of the next 7 days, and you don't miss a single day, at the end of our time together, you will be eligible for a huge surprise scholarship for our flagship training program. And I'll be announcing that towards the end of the week, in the sessions towards the end of the week. So just know, if you already know who we are and you already love the idea of training with us, or you hear what I have to say over the next few days, and that is something you're interested in, then be here every day. Do not miss that, so you can put your hat in the ring for the scholarship opportunity if that's important to you. Okay, enough housekeeping. Let's get down to business. I want to talk about impact. So as a professional singer, or a singer who's performing in any way, shape, or form, you have one job, and that is to make an impact on your audience. That's it, okay? Sound is a form of energy, like light, like heat, right? And this energy in the form of sound needs to travel from you to your audience unimpeded, to make the biggest impact possible on them, so that they want to come to your concerts, buy your records, cast you in shows, buy tickets and t-shirts and merch of yours, listen to your, stream your recordings on Spotify or whatever, okay? Without impact, none of that happens. And for those of you who are in the journey of doing this professionally, impact equals income. The bigger the impact, the bigger the income. But see, a lot of singers that come into work with me, they have an impact gap, and maybe you have an impact gap and they don't realize it, and perhaps you don't. So what an impact gap is you you put yourself forward and you go to the audition, or you make a record, or you're booked for a gig, and you do the performance, and you feel like you gave it your all. You feel like you're making the biggest connection that you can in your voice, and despite that, you're not getting the results that you want in the form of the bigger opportunities. So you make a record, but you only get like a couple thousand spins, or we would say plays now on Spotify. Or you're going out there for auditions, you're putting yourself out there. If you're a musical theater singer, you're doing a ton of self-tapes and you're not getting callbacks. Or you're doing shows and you put yourself out there for a show at a venue and you do one show and then the venue isn't really motivated to invite you back. And so the problem is that you have an impact gap. The impact that you are actually making on the audience is not commensurate, is not match the amount of passion, energy, talent, and oftentimes training that you have. And so you're doing everything you know how to do. You're putting yourself out there, you're doing the things, and yet you're not moving the needle. Okay. And so this is the impact gap. And so today, I want to help you understand why you don't book the elite gigs that you want as consistently as you want, despite all of your vocal training, all of the amount of time that you're putting into this and putting yourself out there, and to understand the first breakthrough that you need to fix it. And this is it. The number one thing that traditional training has never taught you. Okay, when you understand this, guys, nothing else that I teach you this week will matter without first getting a deeper understanding of the mind and body connection in singing. This is the number one breakthrough that facilitates the impact that you want and everything else. Without that mind-body connection, you can continue working technique, you can continue auditioning, you can continue writing and releasing songs, and you will not have the impact that you so desire, and you will remain in the impact gap because mind and body connection is not as strong as it needs to be. And this is the number one thing that traditional training has never taught you. So let's dive in. And make sure you have your masterclass workbook handy to take notes, okay? So the majority of you here fall into one of two categories in terms of where you are in your singing. You're either already a professional singer, and for our purposes, what that means is you are already being paid to sing, or paid for your recordings, or paid to perform, okay? But the really elite gigs, the big paychecks, they're going to someone else. And so you've hit a ceiling, and you don't know what more you could do to break through to that elite level in your career. And so that's one bucket. You're already a professional. It's just not happening at the level that you want for you to succeed. Or you're not a professional yet, but you are a serious singer who is at that point in your career where, given the amount of time and money and energy you have spent on expert vocal training and the amount of hustling, recording, auditioning, performing, practicing, putting yourself out there every which way, every day, you should be getting paid. You should be getting these professional opportunities, but right now you're putting yourself out there and you're just not seeing the results that you want. So whichever bucket you fall into, whether you're already a professional singer or you're a serious singer, but you're not yet professional being paid, we're here this week to break you through to the next level of what you want. And so you've gotten this far in your singing career because you've already got some of these foundations that have taken you part of the way. But the next 7 days is about teaching you how to access those next level things so that you tap into 100% of your potential to stand out from the competition so you can go out there and land these opportunities that you want. Now, first, I want you guys to really get that having an elite singing career is not really about talent. It's not. At the level that you're playing at, guys, everyone's got talent. It's a given. So what is it that separates the super successful from the ones who languish? What is it that separates the metaphorical men from the boys, the badass singers from the superstars? It's all about energy, how you use your energy. So what do I mean by that? Your audience responds to your energy, not just your singing. Remember, I talked about right at the beginning, sound is a form of energy. And for you to make that impact, you need to be the clearest channel of that energy in the form of sound between you and your audience. Okay. But the audience is not the only thing that responds to your energy. Your voice also is responding to your energy as well, because the way you use your energy affects your voice. So this, your larynx, right? This is not your instrument. Your whole body, this is your instrument as a singer, not just your larynx and your vocal cords. Your entire body is your instrument. And just like a trombone player or a guitar player, a cello player, make sure that their instrument is in good working order, we too need to make sure that our instrument, our entire body, is set up to make the biggest impact as efficiently as possible, because your body cannot do what your brain is sabotaging. And so that is concept number one for today. If you're following along in your masterclass workbook, this is concept number one. Your body cannot do what your brain is sabotaging. Write it down, because everything else that you're going to learn throughout this week hinges on getting that concept. Guys, your body is built to respond to your brain in everything. So your body is only ever responding to your brain all day, every day. Your brain is managing and directing the functions of your body, your digestion, your heart rate, your basic functions, as well as interpreting your environment, making meaning out of what's going on, your circumstance, telling you how to feel about it, which then causes a physical reaction in your body. So think about it. When we have a thought or a feeling, it lives in our body, and we physicalize our thoughts and our feelings. It's just part of being human. It's what we do. And so if you have a thought that really excites you, what happens? You get butterflies in your stomach. You get that feeling physically, like that's your body's physical response to that thought that got you all excited. And if we have a thought that really scares us, then we go into fight or flight. That's the human physical response to fear that humans have had since the beginning of time, right? The example I like to give is like a bear walks into the cave and the caveman goes into his fear reaction, which is either going to be fight or flight. He's either going to brace himself to fight the bear, or he's going to flee. He's going to run away from the bear. Both are physical reactions of the body to the circumstance of being in the cave with the bear and the fear that it created. And so now your brain and your body, guys, they're interfacing like this all day long in ways that you're present to and in ways that you're not. And so let's just say, as singers, that you are just the teensiest bit insecure about a certain aspect of your voice, like your high notes, right? Like you've got high notes, you've got them, you can do it, but there's always that lingering doubt. It's just lingering around that, because it's never been an easy part of your voice. And so because of that, now you're in a big audition or maybe a big recording session or something, and that anxiety starts to creep in about that upcoming high note. Does anyone get anxiety when it's time for the high note? Tell me in the chat. Who here gets a little fear, a little anxiety when it's time for the high note? Yeah, I see Jedediah, Casey a little bit. Who gets a little bit like, oh, I know it's coming. I mean, I can do it, but yeah, Julie, Finn, Javon, totally. Yep, Tracy, Kathy sometimes. Yep, Kaylee, totally. Let's yeah. So you guys, you're human, okay? And so guess what? Your body is going to physically react to that fear, to that anxiety. And so here's what happens. You go into your fight or flight. And so that high note is coming. And if your body's reaction to fear is to fight, then just as that high note's coming, you go into your fight reaction. And in the body, what that looks like is make, force, do, push, manipulate, control. And your body does those things. It forces, it controls, it manipulates. And now those things have sabotaged any technique and talent that otherwise exists. And now you have actually created the bad high note that otherwise you were scared of. And what's worse is that now you have evidence that you're not good enough and that you can't do it. And so now that feeds back into the next high note you sing, the next audition you go to, the next phrase that has that high note. And now you're even more in your fight or flight. And now you make, force, do, push, manipulate, control even more because you don't want to fail, right? This is all a reaction to you don't want to lose what you have or not get what you want. That what we call amygdala brain, that's your lizard brain. It does not know the difference between that high note and the bear that has come into the cave to eat you because you care. You want to succeed. This is your gift. This is your passion. You don't want to fail at that. So you're in your fight or flight even more. And now you have created the circumstance that sabotages the high note even more. And you make the sound that you were afraid of. And now you have evidence that you're not good enough and you can't do it. And that feeds back into the next high note you sing in. Then next, and there is the loop. This is what we call the negative feedback loop of fear and tension. Okay. So, guys, get that you are always reacting to your thoughts and feelings, whether you realize it or not. Your body is just responding to what signals it's getting from your brain. And it's part of being a human, guys. It's normal. All people have physical reactions to your thoughts and feelings. And one of those physical reactions is tension. Tension is one of the ways that our body protects itself from difficult or uncomfortable thoughts or feelings. Whatever the cause, whatever the feeling, it physically lives in our body. But as singers, it means that the physical reactions to our thoughts and feelings also live in and affect our instrument. So for someone who's not a singer, Jane Doe sitting at your computer doing a data processing job, physicalizing her thoughts and feelings may not be comfortable, but it's not going to prevent her from doing her job. But for a professional singer whose body is her instrument, those physical reactions and those tensions that are created in the body by the thoughts, they have a dramatic effect on you being able to do your job, create that impact, and do it at the most elite level. Because the physical reaction to your thoughts and your feelings affects the energy. There we are, back to energy again. It affects the energy that moves or does not move through your body and your instrument. And because sound is a form of energy, and if you guys remember high school physics, the law of entropy, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just changes forms. You guys remember that? Okay. So because that form of energy is just to move through you in the form of sound to the audience that picks it up. And you have one job as a singer, which is to impact your audience. And if you're going to be a professional singer at an elite level and be successful, that impact has to be massive. So you stand out from the competition and they keep coming back for more. But the only way that kind of massive impact happens is when you are the most open channel for the energy in the form of sound to move through you to your audience. There cannot be any blocks. And so if you're not breaking through to the level of sound, opportunity, singing career that you really want, if you're not doing that, then you're not making the impact you need. And that's because there are blocks in that energetic exchange between you and the listener. Blocks that you probably don't even realize. And you see, energy and vibrations, they need to flow freely through the body for optimum singing technique, sound, and impact. And so our body's physical responses to uncomfortable thoughts and feelings, whether it's conscious or subconscious, it causes these blocks. And these blocks, they live in the body in the form of tension that blocks the free flow of energy and sound from happening. And they block your impact. And so what's going on in your mind, both conscious and subconscious, matters, guys. Get that. It matters because it affects how your energy lives in and moves through your body. And that has a huge effect on your ability to tap into the fullest potential of your body, of your voice, and to use your technique and succeed in the ways that you want with your singing. So this brings me to concept number 2 for today, which is that energy is the link between mind and body. So if you're following along in your masterclass workbook, this is the second concept that's super important today. Energy is the link between mind and body. It is what creates the mind-body connection. And if the body cannot do what the brain is sabotaging, then in order to stop the sabotage so that mind and body are working together when you sing, creating that big impact, then you've got to understand and align the energy that's been creating the sabotage. And so let me explain what I mean and how this works. The energy that many pro singers like you are in when you sing, regardless of if it's an audition, a recording, a performance, or even just practicing, the energy that most of you are in usually comes from one underlying subconscious need. And that is the need to prove. The need to prove you're good enough, that you belong on that stage, to prove your talent, to prove you belong there, to prove that you're worthy, talented, lovable. None of us wants to admit it, yet this is where the majority of us are operating from. So can we be real here for a second, guys? Like I said, this is the safe space. Does anybody relate? Like, show of hands in the chat. Just say me in the chat. If you get real honest with yourself. And most of the time, this is not conscious. It's the subconscious, not enough thinking and energy that's driving the bus. So how many of you relate to that? Oh God, I always feel like I got to prove like I'm not good enough. It needs good enough. I have to be this. I have to be that. Like, yeah, I see you guys in the chat. Especially if you've been at this for a while, if you've been up for big opportunities and you get into the final callbacks, you have that record label meeting, but they go with someone else. It's the always the bridesmaid, never a bride thing. Who has this experience? Hit me in the chat. How many of you have been in that place where it's like you're doing the thing, you're out there, but it's like always somebody else? Yes, I see Annie, Jerry, totally, Amy, Juliana, yeah, Peter. Okay, so first of all, no, you're not alone in this. This is a thing, okay? And there are real feelings there. Even real trauma is there. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. To be working as hard as so many of you are working and to have put so much blood, sweat, and tears into making this career work, living this passion, this dream, and a reality that you're in this mix and you're so close, you're like this close, only to keep being passed over. It can be traumatic. And then we feel like we're not enough and we don't want to feel that. So you respond to that underlying subconscious need to feel like you're enough and prove you're enough in either one of two ways. The first way is outwardly with a very outwardly focused energy. So what this energy looks like is, I like to use the example of if you guys watch the competition shows like American Idol or The Voice or AGT or whatever.
2803.
Can we, Ash, make sure that everyone is muted? Okay. So if you watch the competition shows like Idol or Voice or whatever, the way this manifests as an outwardly focused energy are the people who like you watch and they're just trying so hard and they're all like da 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 da, look at me, listen to me, blah blah, and like they might arguably have a good voice, but like they're trying too hard and like
I'm ready to share with you.
can we please make sure that you stay muted? It's just distracting for the group, okay? So when you see singers like this, and we've all seen them, they're just trying too hard and the audience can smell it a mile away. And it's really uncomfortable to watch. Like you just want to be like, chill, you know? But also it sabotages their technique and their impact because it makes them push. They push because they've got something to prove. And gosh darn it, they're going to give it to you because they don't want to fail. They want you to know how good they are and how important they are, you know, so they overdo and they push and they blow everything out. And it ends up sabotaging their technique, their impact, and not being their best performance because we as the audience, we just feel like accosted by it, you know? And it's like you just want to tell them to just stop trying so hard. But now they've sabotaged their connection with their audience. And what do we know? No connection, no impact, not gonna succeed the way you want. Or the second way that we respond to this need to prove is actually by doing the opposite. It's by pulling back our energy, receding, shrinking. And I know this sounds counterintuitive, but here's what happens. So we finally got a big opportunity to sing, to prove our gifts to ourselves, to others, to show what we can do, what we've done a million times on our own, practicing by ourselves. But now the stakes are higher. And the pressure to prove our worthiness can be so overwhelming for some that it becomes too much. And they shrink away from it in the moment. And when that happens, we back away from our technique. We stop trusting it. We stop trusting our talent. We recede. And then we lose the efficiency in our body. So we can't access 100% of the potential of our sound, of our performance. And then the performance suffers because the impact is not going to be what it needs to be. Not to mention the fact that the audience feels that wall go up when you shrink back into yourself. They feel it. Like you've probably watched performers like this, and you can just see like they're not there. Like there's no connection. They're singing, but what their energy is broadcasting is contraction. It's saying, "Don't look at me." You know, whether they mean to or not, they've gone into the bunker, and now we've lost impact. And what did we just say? What is your number one job to make it at an elite level as a pro singer? Impact. So the need to prove is an example of what I call stinking thinking, the ways in which our mind sabotages our instrument and our impact. And there's no way that you can be bulletproof to bring that massive impact with stinking thinking going on because it affects your energy in either one of two ways. Either it sabotages our sound and our technique, and because of how our body is physically responding to it, now our energy is not consistent, right? And it sabotages our ability to connect with our audience. And without both of those things in place, there's no way that your voice or your performance will make the impact that it needs at the level that it needs to stand out. And without that ability to make that impact at a high level, you just can't have that success that you want at the level that you want. And now you feel insecure. You feel less than. And then you don't act on your own behalf as powerfully as you otherwise would to go after opportunities. You don't put yourself out there in ways that really would serve these higher level goals that you have. And so you stay stagnant, you stay stuck, and nothing changes. So, what do we do about it? First, we have got to change the thinking. Because when we change the thinking, we change the singing. That is where all the breakthroughs that you want in your voice and your technique and your career live. And so that is concept number 3 for today, which is changing thinking equals changing singing. Write it down. Tattoo it on your forehead. I say to everybody, like, it's going to be on my gravestone. Changing thinking equals changing singing. It is the backbone of everything you are going to learn over the next week. Because, guys, I could give you the best technique in the world. And trust me, I've got some incredible technique that we're going to get into over the next few days. You are going to learn things and hear things that nobody has taught you about technique. And none of it, get me, none of it will matter if you don't get these concepts first. Why? Because your body cannot do what your brain continues to sabotage. If we're going to change the thinking, the singing. If we're going to change the singing, we have got to change the thinking first because, say it with me, changing thinking equals changing singing. Do you guys ever notice that you always sing better when you're alone in the car or in the shower and it's like you're the best you've ever done? Like, hit me in the chat. Do you notice that? Who notices that? Tell me. Are you always like giving your Grammy Award-winning performances in your car? All of my Grammy Award-winning performances have been in the shower. All of them. Any idea why that is? Tell me in the chat. Why? Why are you better in your car, given what you know now? Yes, you're relaxed. Why are you better in the shower? Why are you better when you're on your own? You're alone. Yes. But see, here's the thing, guys. Why can you be fearless? Why are you relaxed? Right, exactly. Kaylee for the win. There's no one to judge me. You have nothing to prove. So in that moment, when you're in the car, when you're in the shower, you have nothing to prove. You're not in the proving energy that sabotages what your body was built to do. There's nothing at stake in those moments. How you sing is not a reflection of your worth in that moment. There's no success or failure there. You're just trusting your instrument, trusting your technique, because in that private moment, you are enough for yourself. Your thinking is making meaning out of where you are and creating circumstances in your body that allows you to use your instrument and your technique for you instead of sabotaging it against you. And your thinking gives a different meaning entirely to other circumstances, like those big auditions and big performance opportunities, whether you realize it or not. Those different meanings are creating a different outcome in your body, which sabotages your impact, which is why you're not breaking through. It's never as good when you're in a high stakes environment. And so you're not getting the results that you want. So keeping your instrument in optimum shape to access the fullest potential of your voice for the biggest possible impact, it means understanding and addressing the part that mindset plays in creating all of that in the first place, and then being intentional about training your mind. Why? Because say it with me again, guys, I'm going to drill this into you whether it's the last thing I do, because your body cannot do what your brain is sabotaging. And this is why so many of you also experience loads of tension when you sing. So I'm curious about those people in this room. So we got about 70 people in the Zoom. How many of you experience tension when you sing? How many of you suffer from tension? It could feel like jaw tension, neck tension, tongue tension, tension in your in your ribs and your core. Yeah. Oh, okay. I totally see so many of you here. That's good because we're going to be talking about this throughout the week. What about vocal fatigue? When, especially if you're gigging a lot, anybody experience vocal fatigue after singing for, period of time? Could be half an hour, could be, yeah, tension and vocal fatigue. Yes, totally. Yeah, and you guys, vocal fatigue is a byproduct of tension. That's just what it is. Now, tension in singers is caused by two main things. Improper breath support is one. And tomorrow, guys, we're going to get into some high level game changing breath support tools. Like you guys think that you've been taught breath support before, but I guarantee you that even those of you with tons of training and the amount of training so many of you have had, I guarantee you there are things that you will hear tomorrow that you have not heard before. So super psyched to show you all of that. So don't miss tomorrow, okay? But again, I could give you the best training on breath support in the world, and it will not matter, and your body won't do it if your body is holding tension to try to protect you from failing and keep you safe. And so here's what that looks like. So, okay, so I'm curious of those of you who typed into the chat that you experience a lot of tension. Somebody raise your hand. I wanna drill down to help you get some clarity. So who wants to be a guinea pig to talk about their tension for a second? You can use the raise hand function. You guys know where that is? It's the little heart at the bottom of the Zoom screen that says react. If you click it, you can see raise hand. So who wants to be a little guinea pig to talk about tension in their voice? Okay, so I see Javon uh, and Kathy and Kat have raised hands. Okay, so Kathy, let's talk. You're the first hand that I've seen. So Kathy, go ahead and unmute. How's it going?
It's great.
Okay, so where do you experience the tension? Like where in your body? Is it your throat, your neck, your jaw, your torso? Where do you
Back of
experience
the throat.
the back of the throat? Okay. And when do you experience it? Is it all the time when you sing? Is it only on high notes or long phrases? When do you experience it?
When I get really nervous in front of people,
Okay. And so when you're nervous and you are having some stage fright, is it just there all the time, or is it only there when you're in certain like high or low or long phrases, or it's just there all the time when you're in front of people?
sometimes it's all the time, and then other times it's going from chest voice to head voice.
Okay. So in transition, it shows up as well. Okay. And so So I'm curious, where are you at in your singing journey right now? Are you performing? Are you auditioning? Are you recording? Are you
Um, I failed my last audition.
you did you say you failed your last audition?
Yes.
Okay. And how often are you auditioning? Can I ask?
Um, that was my first one in a couple of years.
Okay, so it's been a very few and far between. So would you say that this tension and the inconsistency that it creates in the stage fright has been what's preventing you from auditioning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So I'm curious if you're open to just being vulnerable and real with everybody for a second. If if you don't get, the transition right, and if the sound isn't what you want it to be in these auditions, what's your biggest fear? What's been keeping you from auditioning?
Rejection.
Okay. And so if you put yourself out there and you get rejected, if that happens, what would that mean? What is the story that your mind tells you that that means, either about you or your journey or your talent or your life?
It tells me I should quit because I can't sing.
Okay. Yes. And so in that moment, you guys see, like in Kathy's, what we call monkey mind, her ego mind, right? Not her awareness, but her inner critic mind is telling her that if she gets rejected, it means that she's not good enough and she should just pack it up and it's never going to happen for her. And so this is why, by the way, Kathy, I mean, I'm sure this is not lost on you, but just to point out the obvious, this is why Kathy's only been on one audition in a few years because she doesn't want to feel like a failure. She doesn't want to feel like she can never succeed at singing, that she's not good enough at this and that she's going to fail. She doesn't want to experience that. Nobody does, right? And so in that moment, when she's singing in front of other people, that fear of rejection is causing her in her body to go into her fight or flight, which, if she's dealing with a lot of tension, that's usually a fight reaction because her body is trying to fight and control and force. So she doesn't have to experience that pain of failure. But in the moment, all of that tension actually sabotages her body from being that clear channel of energy in the form of sound and be able to align with the technique that otherwise would work for her. It sabotages all of that. And now she's actually created the circumstance that she was scared of in the first place, which is the bad sound, the bad experience, all because she was afraid of failing. But isn't it ironic that that fear of failing actually caused the bad experience that she was worried about in the first place? Okay. And so there is a reason why the tension is there. And thank you, Kathy, for being open to share your experience. You can go back on mute now. There's a reason why Kathy's tension is there. Her body is literally trying to control the outcome so that she doesn't fail in this moment or fail at the audition or fail at the song, because it means if she fails in this one moment and she's judged in this moment, it ultimately means that she's never going to achieve her dream. Her mind is literally taking this little moment and making it mean something about who she is, how she is, her worthiness, all of that. And so now she feels like she's got something to prove. Remember, we talked about proving. And that's where the tension comes from. Her body is literally trying to control that outcome so she doesn't have to feel like a failure. Because your ego mind doesn't want to feel that. It doesn't want to experience that. And so your body is now going to try to do everything possible to control the outcome so that you don't fail and end up having to never sing and never experience the joys of your gifts, of your talent in front of audiences and have what you really want. And that's what creates this overwhelming amount of tension that so many of you experience when you sing. It's a domino effect. And it's what's cutting off your impact. So you're not putting yourself out there. One audition in how many years? Like, you guys know, like auditioning, it's a numbers game. It's time in the saddle. You're not going to book everything you audition for. But if you only go out for one audition, your odds are really low, right? It's like a numbers game. But you're not going to break through to those higher levels of opportunities with that sabotage going on because you're not going to put yourself out there. And no amount of cutting edge technique that I give you, and trust me, guys, we work our singers hardcore on technique. It is super important, and none of it will help. You will still have tension unless the root of that tension is addressed in the moment of singing. So you guys ever feel like like intellectually understand what a voice teacher or coach is telling you, but in the moment of singing, your body is like, nope, not gonna do it. Like you get it. You totally understand what they're asking you to do, but as you go to sing, your body is like, no, uh-uh. Yeah, I see you guys relating in the chat. And it's because vocal technique is not optimized in a vacuum. It's not optimized in a vacuum. You have got to get present to the thinking going on behind the singing to tap into that 100% of your potential, reliably stand out from the competition, and make the kind of impact with your singing that gets you the big opportunities you really want. You have to understand the thinking going on behind the singing for that to happen. I've seen it over and over and over again in my 25 years of saving singers' voices and saving singers' careers. So, to that end, in order that you get the best possible results from the techniques that I'm going to teach you this week, and so that you can embody them much more quickly, so that you can get the breakthroughs that you came here for. I'm giving you two things to do tonight to start setting the foundation for your mindset. So the first is a guided meditation, and it is a meditation for present moment body awareness. So cultivating a present moment awareness is the first and most important step in creating a rock solid, strong mind and body connection for singing. Because, see, here's what I've seen to be true, and I think many of you probably would relate, which is that our minds are very rarely in the present moment that we're in. Usually, our mind is busy shaming us about the past, what we didn't do right, what didn't happen, the trauma, the drama, or our mind is tripping out over the future, anxiety over what's gonna happen, over like what I call future tripping, like the high note that hasn't happened yet, that's later on in the song, whether I'm gonna eventually succeed in my career, or whether I'm gonna have to be at my crappy day job forever. Like that's not happening right now in the present moment. Neither is the trauma of the near misses, or the teachers or directors or whatever who shamed you about your voice, or parents who were unsupportive. Like that is also not happening in the present moment. The future's done. It's gone. I'm sorry, not the future, the past. The past is gone. It's done. It doesn't exist anymore. And the future hasn't happened yet. But our mind tends to want to spin in either one of those places. And we, especially in Western culture, we are not taught how to cultivate being in the present moment with our thoughts and with our body. And that lack of ability is one of the huge saboteurs of mind-body connection. Because if you're spinning out and shaming yourself or blaming yourself, or about the past, or you're spinning out over what's going to happen in the future, either one of those creates a feeling in the body, thoughts in the mind, that then resonate through the body in ways that, as we've been talking about, prevent your body from the most efficient use of the technique that you know. And you guys, you were born to make resonant sound. Like your body was created to do that. Every single one of you, Mother Nature, we are the most efficient producers of sound. All the other instruments, violin, an oboe, were all created in the image of imitating the beauty of the human voice. So you were all born with that. But most of the time we sabotage it because we're too busy spinning out of the future or tripping from the past, and we're not in the moment, just in the clarity of what's here with us right now that doesn't sabotage us. And so I'm curious, part of the reason that we do meditation is because meditation is the best way to train your brain to come back to the present moment of your body. And you guys, your body is always in the present moment. Always. Like your mind wants to spin to the past and the future in the ways that I was just talking about, but your body is always in the present moment until and unless we learn how to time travel, right? And so learning how to come back to the moment of your body is the first most important, like easiest way to learn how to be in the present moment. And so we're going to give you a guided meditation that I want you to do tonight. It's in your workbook. It's the day one homework in your masterclass workbook is where you'll find the download for the MP3 for the guided meditation. I'm curious, how many of you have meditated before? Tell me in the chat. Does anyone have a daily practice? Anyone used to meditating? Curious. Siobhan does, Annie does. Yeah, okay. Some of you do. And by the way, like Deanna, it's okay if you don't. Like you don't have to have any experience with meditation at all. And oh, I see some of you putting prayer in. Prayer is actually a form of meditation. So it's not going to be a foreign experience to you, but you don't have to have any experience with meditation. And if you do, this might be a little bit different to your normal practice. That's okay. I'm just going to ask you to empty your cup and let us fill it up with this particular piece of content, which is it's about a 20-minute meditation. It's guided. Like I said, you will have the MP3, so put your earbuds in. I'm going to invite you to do this meditation today after we wrap. I suggest finding a comfortable place to sit where your back and your body is supported. I don't recommend laying down for these meditations unless you have physical limitations, which would make it difficult for you to sit for 20 minutes at a time. So find a comfortable chair, a comfortable cushion where you can sit. There is no right or wrong way to experience a meditation. You may find that your mind wanders, especially if you don't have much experience with a meditation practice. You may find your mind wanders to your to-do list, to a conversation you just had, or some other distraction. You may have realized that you completely missed what the guide was saying, and you're like, oh my God, where did I go? Right? And this is normal, completely normal, especially if you've never meditated before. When this happens, just label it thinking and bring your awareness back to the guide's voice. I have had a meditation practice going on 15 years now, and I still find that my mind wants to wander to my to-do list or whatever, driving carpool for my daughter or whatever it is. And then I'm like, oh, I notice it. Oh, thinking. Okay. And I bring myself back to the moment of my body and back to, if it's a guided meditation, like in this case, the guide's voice, and just be where you are. It's okay. You don't need to rewind. You don't need to whatever. You're going to do this as a daily meditation each day this week, okay? And so this daily meditation, it's really integral to teaching you how to be totally present and how to witness and just how to like notice without an agenda. Notice the thoughts, notice the body, because usually the mind has an agenda that keeps you from being present. And the mind is usually busy, again, shaming you about the past, tripping out over the future, and it's rarely present in the moment with you. But because the body is always in the present moment, when we teach the mind how to be in the present moment with the body, now we're setting up a super efficient mind-body foundation for your singing. Now we're setting up that open energetic channel for impact. So your mind is now reacting to the present moment of your body instead of your body reacting to all the crap going on in your mind, okay? So this meditation is designed to help you get present in your body, help you identify and let go of what's going on in your mind that's living in your body that you may not even realize. So you're going to do the meditation after we get off, do it tonight, and then you're going to do it every day this week of the Masterclass series. And then tonight, I'm also giving you what we call a thought exercise to do tonight before tomorrow's session as well. So a thought exercise is it's a journaling exercise to help you get better aware of your thinking. So I do them all the time with the singers who are in our flagship intensive training program. They're a really, really powerful tool to help you gain new awarenesses about what's been going on for you, both on stage and off, that's affecting you and affecting you in ways that you might otherwise not realize are affecting your singing. So tonight's thought exercise is for mind-body clarity connection, okay? So you're going to do your meditation and your thought exercise tonight. The meditation, like I said, is something you should do each day this week. It's not a one and done. It's not. It's consistency and conditioning this present moment awareness. And if you've been with us in prior workshops, don't get sucked into the mindset of, oh, I already know this. I already did this meditation. I've already done this before, and then skip it. No, do not do that. If you've been with us and you've done this before, do it again. Do it again, but think about it this way. Go deeper this time. Approach the thought exercise and the meditation from a new intention of where you are now. And so, guys, we're talking about creating new neural pathways. That's what we're doing here, is creating new neural pathways to link mind and body, and that requires repetition and conditioning. So if you've done it before, do it again. And if you're new to this, dive in with curiosity. So everyone, you're going to do both the meditation and the thought exercise tonight, and then you're going to do the meditation each day this week. And then you're going to go post in our Facebook group to celebrate that you have been accountable to this so that I can celebrate you too. So I want to hear what your experience with it is like. I want to hear how it's going. I also want you to post if you have questions about it so I can support you. And so Ashley just posted the Facebook group. Most of you should be in it. If you're not, definitely grab that link and get into the Facebook group because we're going to be doing a lot of engaging in there around this workshop, and there will be announcements and things in there that will be really helpful to you. So everyone do both the thought exercise and the meditation tonight. You can find both of these items in your masterclass workbook. They're both downloadable. So the meditation is an MP3, the thought exercise is a PDF. And I'm gonna say, let's break now. I want to give you time to lean into these things. I don't want you to put it off. So I will see you tomorrow. We're going to dive into some high level breath support. So do not miss it. It's the first step in once we're getting present and we're linking mind and body. We're going to give you some tools that are really going to actualize your breath support, especially when you know how to get out of your own way because mind isn't sabotaging body to that end. All right, guys. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. I'm excited and get on it. Get on your meditation and your thought exercise, and I will see you then. Bye, everybody.